I've cleaned up the nose section of the fuselage. I want to get this fuselage together today, and it'll be several days before I'm able to get back to it. So to speed it up, to fill in the seam lines, I use the CA glue. So that's almost immediate drying, nice and hard to sand it back. I've put in the putty where I needed to on these other panels, and I've cleaned up that plastic card I put in for that gap, so you can't tell now that that was there. So that's ready to go plug into the rear end when I get it done. The last video I mentioned about that the rear part of the gear bay, trying to get it across to the fuselage. When I pull with my fingers, it pulled the fuselage inwards, but I wanted the gear bay to go outwards, so I just stuck toothpicks up against the intake trunking, and it pushed them out nicely. I have cleaned up one of the wings and the slat, and so if you're not into cleaning up seams and that, spending all that time, you don't have to really, because once you put it on you don't see it. But it's just a good practice, I think, to clean everything up. And I'm a lazy modeler, but not that lazy. So what I'll do with this is I'll paint the red in there and mask it off, and the red on the inside of that, and mask it off, and I'll keep that off. And when I'm painting the camouflage, I'll just just sit it on there and hold a bit of tammy tape if I got to put the splinter camo over the, so I get the right wing. So actually no need to, because it doesn't go onto the slat, it stops short. So I can just keep that off then. So I've got to clean up the other wing yet. I'll clean the wing up off, it's easier before I glue it into the, or sit it into the fuselage. Start to get a bit awkward when it's getting big like that. So when I paint red on an aircraft where I want it to look like it's dirty in a high exposure area, or an area that's getting a lot of movement or wear, I prime with black, and it gives it, obviously if you're spraying over black your colour's darker, but I want it to look that way, that it's like it's getting a lot of wear or exposure to the weather. This is in a high movement area. If you want it to be nice and bright red, then you'd put you'd prime with white. So that's what I'm going with there with the black. So I just finished painting this one off. I've done the inside of the slats, the other two slats. I've just got to finish this one off, and I'll give it a gloss clear coat to protect it, and then I can put the wings in and start getting that fuselage together. So the wings are in. These parts that hold them in, the plug-in section, I used the white top Tamiya, which is like a resin cement. Just put some in the bottom of that hole, the plug, put the wing on, and then squeeze these down, so that should dry nice. Like I said, I'm not having swing wings, but you also don't want glue coming out and sticking the wings in a spot. So I just want to make sure they're free, so I can adjust them finally when the top of the fuselage goes in. Alright, almost together. Before I glue the nose section in, I'm going to put some lead in the nose. I'm going to bang it down with a hammer to make it flat, CA glue it up inside there. I know that's a fair chunk of weight, but because I've put it's probably a tail setter normally, but with these resin engines they've added a lot more weight to the rear end, so I'm going to make sure she stays seated properly. I'll finish gluing. I had to glue the rear section. It didn't want to stay down, kept wanting to spread apart, so I've put the pegs on there, the rubber pegs. Double peg gives it a bit more bite, more strength. Unfortunately that's the way to break it, the fuselage fit to the rear fuselage, the nose section of the fuselage to the rear fuselage wasn't brilliant. I tried maneuvering when I glued it, but it was left with a gap both sides, so I've put some putty in there. That's gonna have to dry now, and I've just put putty all on the seam joins on the sides. Then I'll clean it all up in one go instead of cleaning it. I was going to sand it and then do putty, so I'll just put putty all over it and then sand it back, so it looks pretty messy, but it'll clean up. So I've to sit it aside now for that putty to dry, and I'm not going to get any more work time on it for a few days, so I'll let that dry and then push on.